couple of weeks ago, I made some of these small vacuum pods for holding small parts that you can screw down to a table or a base on your machine and hold small parts or pieces of wood or aluminum, whatever, to machine them. You can also group them together to hold a larger piece. I'll use this Harbor Freight catalog as an example. So you had a piece of wood or a piece of aluminum that size you wanted to hold down with a vacuum so you could machine around it. You could use these for that. I had a little problem with these are 3/4 thick or slightly under 3/4, and when I drilled and tapped the side of it for the 1/4-inch NPT fitting, either when I screwed the fitting in or when I tapped it, it swelled the material a little bit. So it had a hump top and bottom, which I had to machine back down to get it flat, which they're usable now. So what I decided to do is I'm going to make excuse me, I'm going to make some more out of some 1-inch material, which I've already got. This is HDPE, high density polyurethane, I think, or maybe polyethylene. I get the two confused. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a demonstration in Fusion 360 of modeling it, and then we'll do another video of creating the tool pass, and then another video of actually machining it. Okay, let's get started on creating our model by opening up Fusion 360. Before we start, we want to save our file and name it. And we're going to name it 3x3x1 vacuum pod. And you can select whatever location you want from your folders and click save. Now we have the name of the file. And to start, we'll select under sketch and under rectangle we want a center rectangle. So we want to select this bottom plane here. You have 3 different planes. Select the bottom plane, and now we have this little crosshatch, and move your pointer over to where it snaps to the center and click the left mouse and then release and just draw it out with the mouse. And now we can type in our dimensions for the square that we want, which will be 3x3, working in inches. So you can see the first dimension is highlighted in blue, so just type 3, hit tab key, and then hit 3 in the second dimension, and this time hit enter. That locks in our square at 3 inches by 3 inches. Now go up here to the right hand upper corner, and on the home cube, click on top, and that will bring it up facing us from the isometric view to a flat view facing us. Now what I want to do is create some more squares within this square to form the groove and the center recess section. Now I'm going to bring this forward to me by using the scroll wheel. Scroll it towards you to make it bigger. Scroll the wheel away from you to make it smaller. You can also depress the center scroll wheel and hold it down, and you can move your sketch or model back and forth wherever you want it. So let's create another square within this, and we're going to use the offset function, which is under sketch. You come down here and you can see offset. There's also a letter command of the letter O. So let's just click offset, and we want to make a square inside this square that's 1/8 of an inch away from the outer edge of this one. So move your pointer over to where it is highlighted in blue and click your left mouse, and now you see a red square, and it's on the outside of the original square. We want it to be on the inside. So I'll go over here to the offset box that popped up and just click the flip thing, and that moves it to the inside. And you can type in your dimension either here or here where it's highlighted. We'll just use this one that's highlighted and type in 0.125 and hit enter, and that locks it in. Now we have the inner square 1/8 of an inch from the outer square. Now we want to do the same thing again, but when using the offset function under sketch, you cannot do it twice in a row unless you delete this symbol here, which I guess is the offset symbol. So you click on it with the left mouse button, and once it's highlighted, when you click on it, hit the delete key on your keyboard, and that deletes that symbol. Now you can select offset again. So this time we'll use the letter command O and click on this inner square, and you see it highlights in blue. And again, it moved to the outside. We want to the inside, so we will type or click flip and type in our dimension. Now this is going to form the groove, which we want to be 3 millimeter. The reason we want 3 millimeter is the gasket material we're going to use is 1/8 inch EPDM cord, and it measures 1/8 of an inch, but the recommended size is 0.118 for the groove. So that happens to equal 3 millimeter within a few thousandths. So we'll select 3 mm for millimeter. Even though we're working in inches, you can type in the millimeter and then hit enter, and that locks it in. Now we need one more square within this to form our recess in the center of the vacuum pod. So again, click on that offset symbol and hit delete, and that deletes it. Now we can select the letter O again for offset, select the inner square, again hit flip to move it to the inside, type in our dimension. This time we want 1/8 of an inch, 0.125, and hit enter, and that locks it in. Now we need a circle in the center, which will become our hole for our suction. So we can hit C for circle, and it brings up a crosshair. Let that snap to the center, click the left mouse, release, and then draw it out. Type in whatever dimension you want. In this case, we're going to make it 1/4 inch, 0.25. Hit enter, and then enter again to lock it in. So we have all our sketches drawn now. We can stop the sketch by clicking up here and go over here to our home cube and click the little house. That will throw it back into the isometric view. Now we want to highlight the whole thing so we can extrude it. So just click over here somewhere and hold the left mouse and just draw around it like that, and it will turn it blue. Then right click anywhere within the blue area. You'll get this to come up, and select press pull. And it's showing an arrow pointing up. It wants to extrude it up. In our case, we want to extrude it down, so we will type in a minus dimension, -1 inch, because that's what our material is, and hit enter to lock it in. Move this back up where we can be in the center here. Now the first time we extruded, we lost our sketch. So you can go over here to where it says sketches on the left hand side, click the little arrow and see the sketch here, and turn it back on by clicking on that little light bulb, and it turns yellow and turns our sketch back on. Now we can see our other squares and our circle. We can use the scroll wheel to bring it to us, and we want to highlight the center hole or circle. So move your pointer till it turns blue and right click on it. Again, select press pull, again, it's going up. We want it to go down, so we type in minus. We want to go at least halfway, so we'll do minus 0.5 and hit enter. Now we have a 1/4 inch hole that's 1/2 inch deep. Now we want to extrude this center section down about a 32nd of an inch. So right click on it when it turns blue, click, press pull again, type in minus 0.032, hit enter, and now we have our 32nd recess. The reason I like to do this is if we only had the center hole, when you put a part on this vacuum pod, the only thing holding it will be the suction in the very center, and it could spin on, have more chance of spinning on you. Whereas if you have this recess, it kind of spreads out the vacuum under the whole part a little better. At least I think it does. Now we want to extrude the groove, which is this area here in blue. So move your pointer over it till it turns blue, right click again, select press pull, the left mouse. Again, it's pointing up. We want it to go down, so type in minus 0.097, which is going to be the depth of our groove. That's the recommended depth for the 1/8 inch cord, which leaves enough sticking up to make the seal and to press down. Move this back a little bit. So we have our center hole, our recess in the center, and our groove. So we can turn this sketch off now. See a little better what it looks like. Now we're going to create the feet on each side, two sides, to be able to fasten it down to a table or a mill or something. So we want to flip it over and draw the sketch for the feet on the bottom. So you can just select up here on the cube where it says front, and that will flip it around with the front is facing you, and then move the pointer up. As you get close to that cube, you see a little arrow on each side. Select the bottom one there, and that will flip it up to where the bottom is facing you. And we're going to draw 4 rectangles, one on each corner, to create the feet. So this time we're going to use, instead of center rectangle, we're going to use just a 2-point rectangle. So we can select it here or use the letter R. Once you select that, you have to select which plane you want, which will be the bottom plane. You can see it change color when you hover over it, and just click the left mouse and release. And now we have our crosshair to draw our rectangle. Move it over to where it snaps to the corner, click the left mouse and release, and draw it out, and type in our dimensions. The highlighted dimension we want to be 0.75. Then hit the tab key. It highlights the second dimension, which we want to be a 1/2 inch. Type in 0.5 and then hit enter to lock it in, and there we have a 1/2 inch by 3/4 rectangle. Now we'll do the same on all the other 3 corners. This time we'll use the letter command, hit R for rectangle, let it snap to the corner, draw it out, type in our dimensions, 0.75, tab key, 0.5, enter. Go over to the left hand side of the square, R for rectangle, let it snap to the corner, draw it out. Our highlighted dimension will be 0.5, tab key, 0.75 for the second dimension, enter to lock it in. And our last corner, R for rectangle, let it snap to the corner, draw it out, type in 0.5, second dimension 0.75, enter to lock it in. Now we have all 4 rectangles for our feet. At this point we'll draw the circle to create the screw hole. which I'm going to use a 1032 screw, which is just a little over 3/16 in diameter for a through hole. So I'm going to use 0.19. So we'll create a circle that is 0.19 in diameter. So we'll hit C for circle, and we want that circle to be in the center. So you see that dotted line there. It just so happened that when I moved it up, when you move to the center of a side here, when you see that triangle come up, that means you're in the center. So if you just move the mouse up, you have that dotted line, and it met the center of the side length here. And when those two dotted lines meet, that's the center of your rectangle. Click the left mouse down and release it, and then draw out your circle and type in 0.19, hit enter, and enter again to lock it in. So there we have a 0.19 diameter circle within our rectangle. And we'll do the same thing for the other 3 rectangles. We'll do C for circle, find our triangle, come down. It located the other center line. So we have 2 dotted lines. Click the left mouse, draw out your circle, and type in 0.19. Hit enter, and enter again to lock it in. And do the same thing for these 2 on the left hand side. C for circle. Now this time it didn't automatically find the center the other way, but all you have to do is move the mouse over until you find that triangle, move it back, and it will snap to the first triangle, and there we have our center of the rectangle. Click the left mouse, draw it out, type in 0.19, enter, and enter to lock it in. We'll do the same for our last circle. C for circle, find our triangle, that we have our dotted line, find our second triangle, we have our 2 dotted lines, click the left mouse, draw it out, 0.19, enter, and enter. Now we can click stop sketch up here, hit our home little house up here, and it flips it back to our isometric view. Now we want to extrude these rectangles up to create our feet. So click on the first one and then the second one. Well, actually you have to hit the control key to select the second one, and right click, select press pull, and we want to extrude up, not down, as our arrow is showing us. So in our dimension we want to type in minus 0.3125, enter to lock it in, and we have a 5/16 tall feet on this side. We want to do the same thing on the other side, so just move it around by selecting front, and then you can hit the shift key and hold it down and hold the center scroll wheel down, and you can tilt it to where you can see the other side. We have to go over here and turn our sketch back on by clicking the light bulb. Now we'll do the same thing. Move our pointer till it turns blue, select it, hold the control key down and select the second rectangle. Now we can right click and click press pull with the left mouse, hit minus 0.3125 and enter to lock it in, and there's our feet. We can go over here and turn our sketch off. And now we want to round the corners of these feet and round the inside corners here. And we're going to use a 1/4 inch end mill to machine this away, which will automatically create an 1/8 inch radius in this corner here. So we'll do the same radiuses on the outside corner to make it look symmetrical. So we can draw all these in, and we'll use the fillet command. So hit F, the letter F for fillet, and we can select our edges now. Select this outside edge, and you can see the black line up here, and click it, and that has added that one edge to the box up here. Now click this corner here when the black line appears. Now we have 2 edges. Click the inside corner here when the black line appears. Click that. We have 3 edges. Now this edge is kind of hidden from us, but if you hover the pointer over it, it will pop up a black line to represent that inside corner, and you can select it. Now we have 4 edges, and select these 2 outside edges here. And now we have 6 edges selected, and we can type in our dimension, which we want to be 0.125, and it's already formed those, and we hit enter to lock it in. Now we have the radius on the outside corners and the inside corner of our feet on this side. So now we want to turn the part around and do the same thing on the other side. So we'll click front, hold the shift key down and the center scroll wheel down, and just move it around to where you can get to it. And we'll select F for fillet again, and select this corner, find this inside hidden corner, select it, this inside corner, and these 2 outside corners. And we have our 6 edges selected, and type in 0.125, enter to lock it in. Put it back in our original view. Now we want to create radiuses for our groove and the recess here. So let's draw this up closer to us so we can see a little better. We want to select this inside corner here. So again, we hit F for fillet and select that edge. Now we have to move it back where we can get to the other edges. And let's see if we can find this hidden edge here. Let's bring it a little closer. And there it is right there. Click that. Move it over and select this inside edge. And this inside edge for our last corner. And we have our 4 edges selected. Now this time we want to use the same radius, because we're going to be using a 1/4 inch end mill, and it will automatically form these radiuses, but we're just going to draw them in. So we'll type in 0.125 in our box here and hit enter to lock it in, and there's our inside corner radiuses. We'll do the same thing for our groove now. Bring it down where you can get to it, and select F for fillet again, and select this inside corner here. And select this hidden inside corner here. Select this inside hidden corner here. And this hidden corner here. We have our 4 edges selected, and type in, well, we have to figure out what we want that one. We're going to do a 1/8 inch radius on the inside corner, and our groove is 3 millimeter, so we have to add 3 millimeters to an 1/8 inch to get the radius of this one. So that will be 0.125 plus 0.118, which is 3 millimeter, which is 0.243. So this radius is going to be 0.243, and hit enter to lock it in. So there's our outside groove radius. Now we want to form our inside groove radius, which will be 1/8 of an inch. So we hit F for fillet, select this corner, this hidden corner, this outside groove corner, and this outside corner here. And we have our 4 edges selected, and type in 0.125, enter. And there's all our radiuses. We can select top again and get a better look at our radiuses. They all look symmetrical. Put it back in the isometric position. Now we're pretty much done with the model for what we need to machine it. There will be a hole in the side here for our push lock fitting for the suction, but we can draw it in just for looks while we're here. just so we see what it looks like. So click on the home cube where it says front, and we'll draw a circle on this plane here. So we'll hit C for circle, select this plane, and anywhere where it snaps to the center, up and down, just click anywhere and draw a circle. And we'll type in 0.4375 7/16, which is the drill size for a 1/4 inch NPT fitting. Hit enter to lock it in, enter twice to lock it in. Now we want that circle to be in the center, up and down, so we can move it by using our dimension function. Hit D for dimension, and now our pointer has a little dimension thing attached to it. We can select the center of the circle, and then anywhere up here select this top edge when it turns blue, and now we have a dimension that pops up. We can click it and it says it's 0.6. Well, we want it to be 0.5, which is half of the 1 inch, so type in 0.5, enter, and that will move it to the center. Now we can turn our sketch off, move it back to our isometric view. Now we want to extrude that circle into meet the center hole. In fact, we want to move it to it meets the back of the hole. Our part is 3 inches across, so half of that is 1.5 inches, and then half of this 1/4 inch hole is 1/8 of an inch. So if we extrude this 1 5/8 inches in, we'll be right to the back edge of the hole. So move the pointer over to the circle until it turns blue, and right click, select press pull. Again, our arrow is pointing the wrong way, so we'll type in a negative dimension of -1.625 and hit enter to lock it in. Now our hole is going to the back edge of our center hole for our suction. You can see it better if you go down here to the bottom of the screen and select this wireframe, and you can see the hole where it meets this hole. You can move it around by selecting shift and the scroll wheel, move it around and see that it meets the back edge of that center hole. We'll go back to our shaded view. We can even put some threads in here if we want. We can go up here to create and go down here to select thread, and we want the thread type to be pipe thread, which the only pipe thread Fusion has right now is BSP, which is British pipe thread. They don't have NPT, National pipe thread. So we'll just use, it's just for looks anyway, so we'll select British pipe thread. Size will be 1/4 inch, and we don't need full length thread, so we'll take that off. And now we select what we want the thread to be. We select this circle here, the inside of it, and over here where it says length, we type in the length of the thread. We'll just highlight that and make that probably 1 inch would be enough. Hit enter, and now we have our threads 1 inch deep. I don't know if you can see that. The thread kind of stops right there. Like I said, the threads are just for looks, and that hole on the side is just for looks, because we will probably use a drill press to drill that hole and then hand tap it with a 1/4 inch pipe tap. So there, the model is done. We can change that to a different color if you want by hitting the letter A for appearance, and you can select these things on the side: glass, leather, metal, plastic, paint, all that. You can select we'll select plastic since we're using a piece of plastic and it's opaque, and it brings up some colors, and we can select a color. Our plastic is actually white, so if we select this plastic glossy white, just hold the left mouse down and drag it over till it's on the part anywheres and release it, and it will turn it that color. We could make it red if we want by doing it with the red one. Now, a lot of times, if using it for the first time, nothing happens. You'll see an arrow right here where the little hand is, which means you have to download that. So just click on the arrow and it will download it, and then you can use it. And it shows up here which ones we've used. We could turn it green if we want. That's a pretty color green, or matte blue. Let's go back to the white, or the glossy white. Where'd it go? Right here. And we can close this. So that's the end of creating our model. In our next video, we'll create the toolpath, which will create the G-code. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching.